I'm gonna start out with a little walk around the property. This is the first video, and you see these piles of lumber. There was a mill going out of business, and I jumped on it. They had lumber piled up outside. I got all this lumber. This is all rough cut, 4x4, 2x10, 2x12s, a few 2x8s, and a bunch of boards. I think I got it all for $250. Enough to build a nice wood shed and storage shed. That old freezer, I think I'm going to use that for batteries for my solar set array. And I got a little shed over there I've built for just a junk shed. It's full of junk. It's mainly hardware. It's mainly hardware, so I don't have to go into the city for nuts and bolts and screws and nails. Okay, this is the front yard. I had to do lawn because the bush is so thick that it would just crowd me out. Those are my grapevines. And then behind there is my garden. My pride and joy. It might not look like much, but it keeps me fed through the winter months. Fresh vegetables during the summer, and I bottle the vegetables for the winter. You notice these cages on top. They're like a rabbit cage. I decided to do that to keep the deer out. I did have, you'll see in future videos coming up, where I had fenced in the whole garden, but the snow and the ice kept caving it in. So I built these little frames and chicken wire over top, and they just pull. I just take them off when I want to pick vegetables, and then for the winter I take them off and I'll just store them off by the my building, right, my camp house, whatever you want to call it. So anyways, that's easy. I flipped them upside down so they fill with snow and ice. It won't hurt them. So that's the easiest way to do the garden to keep the animals out. I raised the bed up because it's easier on the back. I'm getting tired of reaching down to pull weeds, so I can sit right in a chair, right in between those planters. I can sit on the chair and pull weeds and do what I want to do. Pick beans, you name it. The lawn, I need a ride mower. I've got one, a little John Deere ride mower, and that's the only way I can do it. It's just under 2 acres of lawn, but it's nice. It's nice. I'm in the bush, and you'll see coming up here the driveway. That's reclaimed asphalt, stuff that they had stripped off the highways, and they threw it off into a pile, and I combined my little utility trailer and a pickaxe and shovel, and I loaded it into the trailer and laid it out on the driveway and just kept driving over it, and it packed down pretty nicely because it was all mud before, so that took care of that mud. And I've still got a little bit to do at the end there. You can see I'm not quite finished, but I got the majority of it done. The driveway is about 200 feet long, so it took a lot of loads. The fir trees here, I planted those. I transplanted them. I dug them up just down the road here on the corner of my property, and that across the road is what this property used to look like before I had an excavator come in and a dozer, and they took 28 loads of bush out and brought in 17 loads of fill. You can see the heavy bush on the left. That's exactly what my property looked like. So, a big improvement. So now, we're coming down to the end of the road. And this is all my property on the left. And it's a dead-end road. The bridge is out, long gone. It used to be an old covered bridge, and somebody decided to burn it on Halloween night. So, that's how they used to get their thrills. So anyways, the bridge abutments are still there, but there's... the road is a dead end. What did happen, there was a trail got put in at the end of the road, and there's some of these little wheelers come up through. They cross the river and come up through because the river's not that deep. I got a couple of neighbors. One on the right is a driveway, and then down by this pole coming up, power pole, that's another neighbor. We all get along great, and we're the only three there. The only 3 residences, so it's... you couldn't ask for more privacy. And as you see right now, I'm all by myself. There's nobody around. So it's about the most peaceful place that you would ever find. This is a corner of my property here, and there's an old skidder trail in there where we hauled some logs out. That goes roughly a half a mile up through there, and to the other. My property is a triangle shape, so it's in meters, and I have 600 meters of riverfront, which is a pretty good stretch. There's lots of wild berries here. That whole road is covered with raspberries. On my property, I have choke cherries, and they make great jelly, and there's high bush cranberries. So I'm a forager. I get lots of food. These fiddlehead greens that grow here, they're wonderful. They grow in the spring, and I bottle them. So this is going down to the river now. The river is really, really clean. It's one of the cleanest rivers, the cleanest, they say, in this area. And it's goes up and down really fast. We get a heavy rain, that river can come up 6 feet in a matter of hours. And then this time of year now, in the summer, you see it's really low. And there's a beach. There is fish. There's a sea run of trout, and it is a salmon river. So, but the water is crystal clear. I wouldn't drink the water out of the river. You shouldn't do that, but it could be sanitized. It could be boiled. You could use purification tablets, whatever you want to use. I would probably just run it through a bit of a filter and maybe a couple of drops of bleach in it to kill anything in there, and just let it sit, and it would be good. I also have a spring, so this isn't my water source. I'm just saying that the water is there. This river doesn't dry up. It runs year round. This is at its low point right now. Beautiful, quiet. A few birds around. You don't hear any vehicles. This is it's got 7 miles of gravel road. It's not even gravel, it's dirt road. It's a clay road, so it gets a little bit slippery and greasy when it rains, and then it turns to dust when it dries out. But you couldn't ask for a better spot. It's isolated. It's got everything a person needs. There's actually power run through there, but I don't tie into the grid. I'm totally off grid.